streamlined way with great team members to serve sellers and buyers.
Sold $20,500.
Live broadcast of an auction that we bring to them.
Sold. Property's choice. You can buy parcel 1, parcel 2, or parcel 3.
$5,000 offered. What do you give me? $5,500 and $5,000 on here. $55,000, $6,000 and $6,000 on here.
You've always heard in the real estate world, location, location, location. Well, that also comes into play when you talk farmland.
Increase in value, and its value is only going to increase over time. You know, the numbers I said before are at 6.5%, which is the 50-year average annual appreciation in farmland.
An auction cast method with all of these wonderful things brought to the seller and buyer.
Welcome to today's land auction via AuctionCast, the most informative method to buy and sell land at auction. I'm your host, Tyler Tissue, and I'm excited to have this expert panel I have here today. First, on my left, I have Keith Allen of Allen Seeds. Keith, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself today?
Thanks, Tyler. My name is Keith Allen. I'm the owner of Allen Seed Source. I guess you could call a veteran within the agriculture world of about 20 plus years. And in my business, I have an opportunity to be able to work with farmers directly, help them make decisions when it comes to inputs that happen on their farms, and really peel down into the soil level or the soil types and everything to really maximize productivity on every acre. So,
hey, I can't wait till you help us break down this farm here a little bit later here in this show. Next, I have Craig Borchard of Ascent Financial. Craig, why don't you tell a little bit about the crowd a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. My name is Craig Borchard. I'm the consulting director at Ascent Financial, and I've been a business and financial consultant for 20 years. And at Ascent Financial, we help farmers with transition and estate planning and help advise them on transactions.
Well, I can't wait to break down this farm with you as well.
Yeah.
So last but not least, I'm very excited to have our founder of LandProz, Bo Jensen. Bo, why don't you tell everybody about yourself as well?
Yep. Like Tyler said, I'm the founder of LandProz. I've been in the real estate and auction business for over 20 years, and I'm happy to be here today to work with all you folks and add to the expert panel here.
Hey, I can't wait to have you join in here today. So today we're going to be selling the Brule Farm. This is 50 acres located in Section 7 of the McPherson Township of Blue Earth County, Minnesota. This is one tract with a CPI of 90.1, and the farm is almost all tillable. But before we get started, one thing we like to do is introduce everybody to the land market update. This is where we give you the most informative land sales across the entire Midwest, as well as some that are local here, right here in Blue Earth County. And the first one we have in the Midwest is in Sioux County, Iowa. 73 acres sold for $24,000 an acre, and it's a 96 CSR. Absolute killer sale there. And the next we have is in Lyon County, Iowa, 80 acres that sold for $23,450 per acre with a 67 CSR2. Absolute big sales right there in my home state of Iowa. So those are great sales. Bo, I mean, is this something that you've seen across the Midwest here and across Iowa? These land sales continue to trending upwards, it looks like.
Absolutely, Tyler. We've seen that, of course, over the past, quite a few years, and dollars per CSR 2 point, keep creeping up a little bit, and these strong sales here reflect that the market is very strong yet.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of sales right here in the state of Minnesota as well. The first one is in Martin County, Minnesota. It's 77 acres, sold for $14,700 an acre at an 84.2 CPI. And the next one is in Brown County, Minnesota, 120 acres, sold for $15,600 per acre with a 95.5 CPI. So strong sales right here in the home state of Minnesota there. And the next ones we have is these direct sale comparisons right here in Blue Earth County, Minnesota. 80 deeded acres that sold for $11,000 per acre with a 76.7 CPI. And the next one is 129.48 acres for $9,098 per acre with an 86 CPI. So that's right here in the county that we are selling here today. So you're from Minnesota. I mean, are these prices that that are in line with what you're kind of seeing across the state here? I mean, and in this county in particular, because I know this county is a very sought after county, and there's not much that really comes up for sale very often. So today we're excited about this one, especially because of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, when it comes to the kind of productivity you look for in property and ground, between Martin County, Brown County, Blue Earth, these are kind of like the holy grails for soils in the state of Minnesota. They are just highly productive pieces of ground, and I wish I had more of an opportunity to be able to work with ground like this, because it's exciting to be able to see what you can do with this kind of stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to this land sale here today. But first, we want to welcome all of our online bidders and those, the live audience of Main Street Plaza. But first, I want to point out a few things to all of our viewers. Make sure you are aware of all the documents online that are posted about the farm. They're located in the Documents tab. And if at any time you'd like to bid by phone, have any technical issues, or have a question, please call the number on your screen. We have our auction manager, Alex Wayne, ready to answer your questions and take your bids over the phone via text or email. Let's get back to the auction here with Greg Jensen. Take her away.
1, 2. Thanks, guys. I'm sure you people haven't seen anything like AuctionCast before. A lot of it's for our online bidders. They can watch it, see what's kind of going on. It's an update on what's happening around in the farming community, and we're pretty excited about it. We're going to start the auction. I do have a starting bid. Came on the floor. We do have online bidders. I have $7,000 to start it, but first of all, we're going to run through the terms and the conditions of the property. Let's look at this is a beautiful tillable farm that will be offered at public auction here today. Section 7, McPherson Township, Blue Earth County, Minnesota. The deeded acres are 50 acres plus or minus. Tillable acres, 49.75, just about all tillable. You can see the prominent soil types. The CPI is 90.1, and for those of you that don't know what it is, 0 is low, 100 is high. Anytime you get 90, you've got a great piece of farmland. And we used to use CERs, crop equivalent ratings, but each county formed their own. The CPI now is a statewide way to calculate where your farm fits in, and with all the farms in the state of Minnesota. The real estate taxes are $25.05. The corn base acres, $24.71. The yield is $165. The bean base acres, $24.81. The yield $44. It's got great access, close to users, very good soils. Farmers in the area rarely comes up for sale, which is true. It's open for 2023, so you can jump right in and farm it. Let's just jump over to the next page, your soil types. There's your soil types, and it says right there 90.1, the topo map. We're going to go over to the next page, and we're going to look at the terms and the conditions, and I'm going to go run down those. The method of sales bidding will be dollars per deeded acre unless otherwise indicated by the auctioneer. Deeded acres may change because of a survey or other factors, in which case the total sales price will be adjusted to reflect that. Seller reserves the right to accept or reject any or all bids. The auction company and seller reserve the right to preclude any person from bidding if there's any concern to a person's credentials or fitness to bid or enter into a contract. The agency, LandProz, Real Estate LLC, its auctioneers, and AuctionCast are representing the sellers. The taxes, 2022, will be paid by the seller. You'll be paying the 2023, as taxes are current in Minnesota. So, on the conditions, the sale is subject to all easements, restrictions of record, covenants, and leases. Each bidder is responsible for conducting their own inquiries and due diligence efforts at their own risk concerning the subject property. All properties is sold as is, where is with no warranties. Contract and title. Immediately upon the conclusion of the auction, the highest winning bidder will enter into a real estate contract purchase agreement right here, or if somebody's online, we will DocuSign it to them, provide the funds for the earnest money to be deposited in the real estate and auction company. That money will stay there till the date of closing. At that time, we'll bring it to the closing. Seller will provide an updated abstract or title insurance policy and clear title at their expense. And of course, Minnesota has title insurance and also abstract property, so you can go either way. A lot of places have just gone strictly to title insurance, and in fact, the state of Iowa is just all abstract. The sale is not contingent upon the buyer's financing. The closing date is on or before February 8th, 2023. Terms in possession, $1,000 down today. Balance is due at closing or on or before February 8th, 2023. There will be a 2% buyer's premium added to the final bid price. Any statement made the day of the auction takes precedence over previous material. All information provided herein was obtained from sources deemed reliable, but neither the auction company nor the seller guarantee its accuracy. With that, that pretty much wraps up the brochure and the terms and the conditions of the auction sale here today. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone here and the people also online. I do have a starting bid of $7,000 on the floor, so we're going to start right there, and away we go. I got $7,000. Now, who give $8,000? $8,000, number to give 80, number to 80, number to 8, 7 and 18, now 9, sir. Number to 9, 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 now to 10,000. Hot $10,000, number to get 10, number to get 10, now you're out, sir. On the floor is in, but you're out. At 10, online, you're out. At 10, number to get 10, number to get 10, number to 9, 10, thank you, now 11. On $11,000, number to get 11, thank you, now 12. On 12, number to get 12, number to get, sir, you're out again. On 11, now 12, number to get $12,000 bid. 12,000, now 13. 13, number to 14, number to 14, number to $14,000 bid. 13, now 15. $15,000, number to 50, number to 50, number to 50, number to $15,000 bid. 15, help yourself here, people. There you are, a beautiful piece of ground. 15,000. $15,000, number to 50, number to 50, number to 50, number to 50, number to help yourself. At 15, you say 50, number to 50. 14.5, now 15, sir. 15, you're out. At 15, number to 15, number to 15, thank you, number to 15.5. 15.5, number to 5, 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 forward. 15,000, right here, now 500. At 15,000, number to 500, number to 5, number to 5, number to 5, number to 5, forward. 15,000, number to 500, number to 5, number to 5, number to 5. I'll tell you what, when you're buying a farm or you're selling a farm, we always we want to have plenty of time for everyone. Now we got 15,000 right here. Who give 15.5? 15.5, sir. You came here to buy it, go right ahead. 15.5. 15.5. We're not selling 200 or 300 acres. We're selling 50 acres. Who give 15.5? 15.5. 15,000. Number to 500. Number to give 5. Number to 5. Number to 5. Number to 5. 15.5. 15.5. How about 15,250? 15,000 now, 200, number to 50, number to 50, number to, sir, what do you say? 15,000. Alex, I think we're going to have a recess. We need a recess. Absolutely. Everybody, we want to make sure when you leave here today that if you want to buy this farm, you're going to get it bought. We've got 15,000. We're right here. Now we're going to have about a 2-minute recess. I'm going to turn it back to Auction Cast for just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. There we go.
Welcome back, everyone. So we start off at $7,000 an acre, and we are quickly up to $15,000 an acre. Spirited bidding that we have going on here. So, but before we get back here to the auction, I want to talk a little bit more about this farm so that way you guys understand a little bit more about why this is escalating so quickly and why it is spirited bidding. This is a tremendous farm, and Keith has some more information about why this is such a sought-after farm here in Blue Earth County.
Definitely. As far as the producer in me that looks at a piece of ground like this, you're taking a look at a piece of ground that's deeded at 50 acres with tillable at 49.75. I mean, literally, there's nothing
Nearly
else.
100% tillable.
Yeah, it's literally 100% tillable. The other thing I look at is I'm looking at the soil types, and as we go through this, there's a Mama silty clay loam that's on here at 41%, Guckeen silty clay loam at 23.4%, and then the other percentages are 17% of another loam. So that tells me when we get into these drier seasons, this is going to have the ability to be able to hold on to its moisture and water better, which gives you a better opportunity to be able to get those higher end yields relatively compared to your neighbors out there. And not only that, if you take a look at it from the silty clay loam side of it, it's also going to be able to hold and maintain nutrients and stabilize them better than you'll find in other soil types. So it's really nice. Not only that, you have great access to a paved road on the very south side of the property. So you're going right on out onto a paved road. You're not having to worry about going through gravel or anything like that. So
you know what, you did excellent job there. You know, I'm not an operator here, but I'm looking at and you talking about this. Excellent soils, great access. I mean, a heck of a farm. We can see why this went all the way to 15,000 very, very quickly. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we get back, we're going to get right back to the auction.
We, of course, obviously we're done. You know, I have a club I'd like to talk about. It's called the Wished I Woulda Club. You get home tonight, you said, I wished I would have bought it. I wished I would have bid more. You know, like I said, we're not selling 200-300 acres. Total dollars on 50 acres. You know, it's not like I say. If you were bidding 200 on 200 or 300 acres, you know, of course, the total dollars would be gigantic. But on a 50-acre beautiful piece like that, you know, what's $1,000 or $2,000 an acre more? Not really in the scope of things. Because when you buy a farm, you don't buy it for a decade. You don't buy it for, you know, a day or a week or 10 years or 20 years or 30. A lot of times you buy it for a lifetime and several generations. So when you're buying a farm here today, your great-great-grandchildren might be farming that farm someday. And they're going to look back and they're going to be happy that you bought it. So right now, you know, sometimes people put the brakes on, but I can't tell you how many times over the years, and I've been doing this since 1971, people have come up and said, you know, I wish you'd have made me bid more. I should have bid more. How come you didn't get after me more? And I just say, well, I can't hold a gun to your head. I can't make you bid. I said, I can only invite you to bid, ask you to bid, and then it's up to you. And I've had that happen more times than anything as people come up to me and said, I was at that auction. I was a contending bidder. I was a third bidder. I should have bought that. What was the matter with me? I don't know. But so here we go. Now, we are going to sell this farm when we're done. There's going to be a new owner. It's going to be over. So I got $15,000 right here. Who give $15,000? $250. $15,000 now, $250 bid for it. $15,000 right here. Now $250. $200 now, $50 bid. To $15,000, $250. What do you say? $15,000 now, but a $250 bid for it. $15,000 now, but a $250 bid for it. $15,000 now. If you're done, we are done. We're going to ask them one more time. Let's who go 15-1, and then that's it. No, 15-1. Anybody go 15-1, and I'm going to sell it. $15,000 now. 100 now. 15-1. That little gal held up her hand there. I thought she was bidding. She almost bought herself a farm. Little sweetheart. $15,000, now 100. Hey, but 100 now, you're done, we're done. $15,001, $15,001. Everybody, 15-1, 1. What'd you say? Sold. $15,000 to this gentleman sitting right here. What's your number, sir? Number 393. Let's give him a big hand. All right, he bought him a farm. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out to our auction sale today. If you're thinking about having an auction, get a hold of us. We are LandProz. I hope you enjoyed our little auction cast. I think it's kind of the thing of the future. It's informational for a lot of our customers online, and also maybe even some people that come right here personally. So on behalf of LandProz Auction Cast and all of our staff, we wish you all a happy new year. I hope you have a very, very prosperous year in farming and with your family, with your health. So God bless all of you, and and God bless America, by the way, and everybody have a great year. So until next year, we'll be back. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Wow. That was a very exciting sale. We started off at $7,000 an acre, and we went to $15,000, and it sold for $15,000 an acre. Absolute great sale. Craig, when you look at this farm, what did we get broke down from a financial standpoint, and why this ended up being such a great buy here today?
Yeah, sure, Tyler. You know, this farm, sold for $15,000 per acre. That comes out to be just about $765,000 for the total sale, and 170.66 CPI points per tillable acre.
Excellent
So
sale.
very strong sale there.
Very good. I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, this thing went, like I said, it went up, it shot up very, very quickly, right? And, so we went from 7,000 to 15,000 acre just like that. I mean, so let's discuss why does a farm like this, end up just going like that? Is it because it's in Blue Earth County that there's a limited amount of, or the farm sales just don't come up? But what do you think there on your end? I mean, that's, why is a farm like this go shoot up in price so much?
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things, Tyler. I think it's a good quality farm, of course, the soil types, the location, the percentage of tillable acres, but I think it's just an indicator of a good, strong farmland market with people wanting to buy and own farms.
Yeah.
So I think it's all those things in combination. That's why there was such spirited bidding and why it was negotiated so quickly here today.
Yeah, obviously, the bidders that were there knew what the farm was, and they knew what they wanted, and they knew what they needed to get to very quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, and just like Keith, I don't even think you talked about it, but there's some, there's some end use stuff there with an ethanol plant and everything else. I'm sure that probably had something to do with it. What do you know about that?
Yeah, just right down the road, you have Guardian Energy, and then you get back to Mankato, and actually from here in the Goodhue area, we find a lot of guys that are trucking soybeans and hauling products over to Mankato to get processed. You have ADM over there, CHS that are processing soybeans. Then you also have several large feed companies such as Hubbard, Big Gain, and large co-op operation or co-ops that are milling and producing a lot of feed that's going out to pigs in that area. So I mean, it's I'm not surprised by this. I mean, we have high commodity prices at this point in time, and producers are weighing that whole thing out. Do I spend more money on renting ground, or do I just buy? And that's what we're looking at right now. I think that's what's driving a lot of this behind it, and people want to own something, and it's a great way for a producer to help get the next generation going. And this is ideally a crown jewel in a piece of property for someone.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like we've talked about. Farms don't come up that often in this county, and then you add in the end use stuff there at the ethanol plants and all the other things that you mentioned, and then the highly productive soils that it has as well. You can see why this farm sold so well, and it sold so quickly that way. And once again, even to come back to on our land market update when we were talking about that, the market still seems to be trending upwards very, very much. Even this is a sign that it's not slowing down despite any type of economic indicators or inflation or anything like that. We're still seeing farm sales still drive very, very high, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down at all.
I think that the one thing that I think about this is how farms have continuously performed over a long period of time. I have a chart of how land prices have done over the last 50 years. And, if you look at how land prices have gone up over that period, it's been very significant. But when we look at this from the perspective of what if I put $10,000 in farmland 50 years ago, what is that today? We have a chart there, and it's over $200,000 that would have grown into in that 50 years. I mean, that's the land price continuing to appreciate over the last 50 years, and a lot of that growth has only been in the recent years when you look at the chart.
Last 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So it's continuing to be a strong asset with a lot of upward opportunities there.
Well, we're not getting any more land. It's the old adage, right? You're not getting any more land. You might as well get it while you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Craig, so just to reiterate that, you're talking 10,000 to 200. You're talking 20x.
Yeah.
So
over 50 years
of growth. And if you look at owning a farm for not one generation or two, but some of these are century farms that have only been sold maybe one time. This might be the first time.
Mm-hmm.
If you take that over 100, 150 years, and you keep that in the family, I mean that multiple is going to be even higher than that probably going ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we see that obviously. It's like how many century farms do we know of that are out there? Families just passing these things down, and that's why when farms like this come up, that's why they're getting such high bid prices, because you don't know when another farm, especially in a county like Blue Earth, if another one's going to come up like that again. It's a highly desirable farm or in a highly desirable county. So when you get the opportunity, you got to spend the money in order to get it.
Well, you absolutely do, Tyler. And it's not only looking at it today, but how are you going to feel about it in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years? And being in this business, selling a lot of land auctions, sometimes, the day that people buy it, they go, well, I'm happy I got it, but, I paid for it. But at the end of the day, when you ask them 2 or 3 years later, every one of them is happy that they bought it. Every one of them. And then the ones that didn't buy it wish they probably would have bid a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I always come back to a farmer who he became a friend of mine, and he owns probably 2,000-3,000 acres, and he said to me, Tyler, every single farm I ever bought, he said, I cringed when I bought it. He said I was nervous, and he said a year, 2, 3 years later, he said I was thanking God that I bought that farm.
Every time.
Every single
time.
And he's like, he always said to me, he's like, you get through the first few years, and he said, and generally you're pretty good. And that's always stuck with me, from me buying farms as well. And it's obviously worked for him because he's been very successful as well. But Bo, let's talk about farm management a little bit here, and the LandProz side, and how let's even talk about it from this aspect here. For when you break down farms, Craig, and with this farm here, based upon some county yield averages, and what that might turn into. Why don't you discuss here with the audience on what a farm like this might rent for, in your opinion here, based upon, like I said, the county yield averages, because we don't have the yields off this specific farm here, but explain that a little bit so that way some of our investors can understand this stuff here too, because we didn't get to necessarily that point here today, but I want to reiterate that for some of our online viewers here today, and what a farm like this could possibly rent for in a flex lease especially.
Sure, Tyler. LandProz has a farm business management practice, and I've used their methodology to kind of evaluate this farm. And in that methodology, they use a flex lease, and the flex lease, takes the average, price, the spring and fall RMA price, which are the crop insurance prices for the commodity. In this case, this farm grew soybeans last year, so that price, is the price that we use to price the commodities. And that's $14.07 for 2022.
Oh, wow. Yep.
Now, the county average is 61.9 bushels per acre for soybeans in this county. Now, we know that this farm is probably an above average farm with a 90.1 CPI.
Yeah, correct.
So as we kind of put those together, see how much production we get per acre. And for soybeans, generally around 40% is a common number that's used. So that would give a total rent of about $348.37 per acre.
Wow.
And normally, the way the LandProz would have done this, if they were managing the farm, is they would have got about $275 up front from the tenant, and then collected the balance after the harvest. Now, if they didn't perform up to that $275 level, the landlord would have still kept that amount. So there's a little bit of risk sharing.
So just to break this down here, so so when we're talking about what a landowner would expect from a lease there, you're taking this and essentially the flex lease is a third of whatever that gross revenue is.
For soybeans, about a fourth, 40%.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Very good. And you said, and it was ran out at what, $300 and what dollars per acre?
$348.37 is what that would have worked out if LandProz was managing this farm, for an owner and had a good tenant in there.
And that's important, when these, as we see more and more investors coming into this market who are maybe getting out of, maybe they have commercial buildings, maybe they had, a bunch of rentals, whatever it is, but now they're 1031ing into land because they don't have to deal with those tenants. They don't have to worry about any more headaches. They can go and get this thing at, rent it out at $348 an acre there. Consistent. They don't have to worry about any headaches from tenants or anything like that.
But it would be quite a bit higher if this was corn. Most are going to be flipping back and forth every year.
Oh, sure.
So this soybean is going to be the down year, and in a corn year, this is going to be into the 400s.
Sure.
So kind of over time, it would have to be a very strong performer as a renter.
Absolutely. Well, heck of a farm, heck of a sale. You guys have anything else you want to add? Excellent. Well, it was a great farm, great sale. I want to thank all of our bidders that participated today, and we especially like to thank our sellers for trusting us to auction off your property today. We have our next auction coming up on January 10th at 2 p.m. We'll be auctioning off the Bombay Elevator in Goodhue County, Minnesota. Then on January 24th at 10 a.m., we'll be auctioning off the Shelter Farm in Barton County, Missouri. Folks, if you're thinking of buying or selling, keep LandProz at the top of your list. You can connect with our team at landproz.com or the number on your screen at any time. Thank you again for joining us here at LandProz AuctionCast, and have a great rest of your day.
A streamlined way with great team members to serve sellers and buyers.
Sold $20,500.
Live broadcast of an auction that we bring to them.
Sold. Property's choice. You can buy parcel 1, parcel 2, or parcel 3.
$5,000 offered. What do you give me? $5,500 and $5,000 down here. 55 down, $6,000 and $6,000 down here.
You've always heard in the real estate world, location, location, location. Well, that also comes into play when you talk farmland.
Increase in value, and its value is only going to increase over time. The numbers I said before are at 6.5%, which is the 50-year average annual appreciation in farmland.
An auction cast method with all of these wonderful things brought to the seller and buyer.